This is the little this one. I think we're live.
Okay, very good.
Ready?
Do pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes from June 9th meeting?
Yes.
Take a motion to accept the minutes.
Set a motion to accept thanks.
Sorry. Any corrections or discussion on this? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, old business. I have one item. Did take the topic of the wheelchair swing donation to the school board that we're going to donate. Don't remember the amount off the top of my head, or if it's in here either. Little, I think it's around $1,100 or so.
Actual amount you gave me was 1105.
Yeah.
So that's what it would be.
So that was presented at the last school board meeting. Board accepted that. So I'll just give those meeting minutes to Julie, have her cut a check and send to the.
Yeah, so she'll have to have the school board's minutes from acceptance, and then you guys have already acted on it, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Do as
Just
you
wanted
want
to
to
give
take
that
care
update.
of it.
And she didn't give details, but Emily thought they had either a grant or a fund in mind that would be sufficient to cover the rest of what the swing would need it. So sounds like it would move along in the near term, at least, not sit there for a while. Anybody else have old business? I think Sandy was gonna come late, but you were there for the discussion that was taken to town council, right?
Right. I kind of briefed him on what was discussed your last meeting about the dog park, and then Sandy did the same.
I apologize for not being, I completely spaced the day of the meeting.
No problem. Sandy was there, so she filled in for you and did a good job too. But, the town council has a few concerns, chiefly not having a perimeter fence around the dog park. For a couple of reasons. From a safety and liability standpoint, you know, there's other activities that go on down there. They have Little League, they have the Optimus Soccer. And one of the concerns that was raised by one of the council members is, you know, if there's somebody down there with their dog that's not tethered, and the dog just decides to go over and join one of the soccer games, and, you know, either a kid gets hurt or somebody gets bit. So that was a concern. The other concern is safety for the dogs, because there is automobile traffic there on Cheater Road, and then we also have the railroad that borders that property on the south side. So the board is concerned about, and I tried to explain that, you know, you didn't want to invest a whole lot of money to put up a fence to find out that nobody uses the dog park. But the town council is kind of concerned about the repercussions of not having a fence. There was some concern about what you guys have talked about waste collection, and Sandy assured them that, you know, Mike's going to put the proper stuff out there so people can clean up after the dogs. Council member Pitcher, who's on the police department down at Cambridge City, said that they don't have any restrictions for dogs in the park down there, and it's an ongoing battle with people not cleaning up after their dogs. And then the third concern they had was, there was something else, now I can't find it, let's see. Oh, Bob Warner, who was one of the officers for the Optimus Club, was kind of concerned about where you're planning on actually putting the dog park so it does not interfere with soccer. And that was a question that I really couldn't answer, and Sandy wasn't exactly sure where you're planning on putting it because of the drainage problems and stuff down there. But Bob did mention that they were planning on starting to lay out the soccer fields. I guess they have more than one game going on at a time. They're gonna start doing that last week. So he was wanted to know if he could find out, be told where exactly the dog park is gonna be, so they make sure there's still room to have the Optimus soccer weekend.
I know we talked about that. I know Mike thought it wasn't gonna interfere.
He already knows where it is, I spoke to him about it.
And then I also, voiced your concerns about the town ordinances. And, if I can introduce Mr. John Madison, if you're not familiar with him, he is our town attorney. And, John is here to give you guys some guidance on, ordinances, because it's my understanding that your board has the authority to enact ordinances that pertain to parks and recreation. So John's gonna explain a little bit of that.
Yes, so under your current ordinances and under state law, you're the Parks Board, you have the jurisdiction to set those ordinances. I looked at just some neighboring towns of different sizes. Westfield, I looked at some of their ordinances, Muncie, they have dog park rules and regulations, theirs are fairly short. Keep your dog on a leash until you were inside the dog park. Now, I guess, if is the vision, we're not gonna have a fence around the dog park initially?
No,
We got kind of two different topics here. So
Okay.
one, yeah, we were looking, proposing a dog park down at the EA park. And that's where there'd be, equipment for the dogs, and obviously there's some concern about whether there is or is not a fence around that. That's one topic. The other topic that we took, that we're taking to town council was a proposal. So out of the, public park, there's a sign. I don't know if it's an actual ordinance or if just it's kind of been,
so it is.
there is an ordinance. So there's an ordinance that says no dogs allowed, period.
No pets other than, lawful
Right.
assistance.
Right.
The sign doesn't say that, it says no.
Yeah, which, I mean, they would be considered a non-pet, But the proposal there was, nobody follows that, and it's not enforced.
Right.
So the proposal was, let's just open that up as long as they're on a leash. I think that's acceptable and probably in line with a lot of other places. And so that was kind of that change, proposal. And then the other thing was the hours of the park year round. And I think they didn't have an issue with that, but those are kind of the three things that were, topics individually. So.
So, changing or imposing an hours restriction of the use of the park, I mean, that's certainly within your jurisdiction, fairly easy to change. Rewriting it to allow animals and requiring them to be on a leash, and then probably some language about, liability, that the owner assumes all liability for the dog, people assume the risk when they come into the park, that there could be an issue, some of that standard but necessary legal language, that's fairly straightforward. I mean, the dog park, when we start talking about that is I would say relatively straightforward, but most of these ordinances that I've looked at, and to define the dog park is usually a fenced in area, because typically people come into the area and let their dog loose. So the dog can run and exercise and be off the leash a little bit, but still do it in a safe manner. So then you're looking at structuring it. Well, how many dogs can each person have? How old does each person have to be? Can a 12-year-old have 2 German Shepherds? Some of those kinds of things that you need to define and say, here are the rules. And then you would want to post that. And then I would, probably have your ordinance down at the bottom of the sign that you post to say, here are the rules, here's the ordinance. And then, if you violate that ordinance, you may simply be asked to leave the park. You may be banned from the park. You may be fined if you're, a chronic offender. Those are the kind of things that you guys could think about. So like Muncie's dog park, keep your dogs on a leash until you're inside the dog park. While inside, please keep 1 leash per dog with you at all times. All dogs must wear a current rabies tag. Always clean up after your dog. Owners are to remain in the park with their dog at all times. You're responsible for the behavior of your dogs. Any aggressive behavior, is responsibility of the owner. Dog parks unsupervised, use at your own risk. This is Muncie Parks, Animal Care Services. So ours would just say Town of Hagerstown is not responsible for any injury or damage brought to you or your dogs. So something like that. That one's fairly simple. Some others, I mean, health of the dog, the dog has to be healthy. Owner supervision and control, number of dogs, limit, maybe to 2 per adult or something. That would be up to you guys. Assumption of risk, owner responsibility, some of those kinds of things we've already talked about. So, and I noticed there is no longer community pool, correct? Okay, that's still in your ordinances. So I guess my thought was, maybe to implement the dog park, that we could use that section of the ordinances. Kind of rewrite that a little bit to structure it toward the dog park, but I wouldn't anticipate this is going to be doesn't need to be a 20-page document, but just to have your general rules and regulations, published, and then the violation, maybe like I said, maybe you're just asked to leave the first time, second offense, you're banned for, maybe for a period of time, and third offense, maybe there's a fine, cash fines. That. Those are things, you all can think about, I can help you think about, I can mock up something to let you look at, if you guys kick around some of the different options. So I guess to your point, I mean, I can certainly put something together that changes the hours and says the dogs are allowed as long as they're on a leash and maybe some of the basics. And then once you get the dog park framework, maybe that looks a little different and a little more elaborate.
We mentioned the no fence things. I think we were talking about the unknown. So it's kind of like an experiment. Will people utilize it, use it, then we would expand later. With any of these that we've looked up, does anybody else have a dog park without a fence? Or is this something that all dog parks have fences?
Not that I've seen. I did pull a model ordinance from American Veterinary Medical Association. So they define a dog park as a public location designated by law or policy to be a place where dogs are permitted to be unrestrained and where a fence or other substantive barrier prevents dogs from leaving the designated area without being under restraint. Now, that doesn't mean that you couldn't have a dog park without a fence, but then you've got to clearly define the boundary if you say certain rules apply to the dog park. So you got to have some sort of at least a visual boundary.
Yeah.
So, it's hard.
I mean, could we throw something in there too about, if there is soccer going on or a baseball practice or some other activity in the area that it's unavailable at that time or something like that? Well, under the scenario that we don't have a fence or in that time period, we don't have a fence.
I mean, you could say that no dogs during,
We have to make it seasonal, sounds like during soccer months, you could bring your dog down.
Well, I mean, they don't use it 24/7, you know what I mean? Like it's what, Saturday mornings for the most part, I think. And then whenever they have their practices and stuff.
This to get the discussion started more on the dog park per se. I already have drawings together where I'm going to be recommending fence. And,
Okay.
it would only be like maybe 100 square foot fenced in area, but it'd still be room to run with a few obstacles, but play obstacles inside with benches and trash disposal area and eventually with a walking sidewalk around the inside perimeter of that
Okay.
fence.
That's good. I mean, I thought originally you had said you
I
had
had.
to do the fence, but
But I've gotten word
the feedback from council.
before Chris had said anything about what council, today, talking to Chris Lamar was the first time that I really officially had heard that there were any concerns from the council.
Oh, okay.
But I already have drawing, just a sketch for that. as well as kind of price estimates on what you're gonna be looking at with that. Originally, the reason for doing the thing was to see, first of all, like I said, who might use it. I've talked to several people that have their dogs down there, and I've only had one out of like 7 or 8 who said, well, my dog probably will use those obstacles, but the rest of their people said, my dog's too old and lazy to do that. They're the one, never haven't had an instance of any problem with anybody down. And that includes picking up after their dog.
Yeah.
So
But if you have the setup, there might be more people.
There will be. there will be, plus you're gonna have to have rules no matter what.
And did you say, you didn't say 100 square feet was the size?
100-foot square.
Okay.
Yeah.
100 square feet.
I assume so.
We're all thinking,
Foot square.
like, wow.
Perimeter would be 400.
Wallace.
Perimeter would be 400 feet.
Okay, cool.
Right now, it's way bigger than that, if they're down there, but. There's never been a dog get anywhere near the road. Which is good, I'm glad, but like I said, if you're gonna have a designated park. Then liability comes along with that from both sides. Including ours, so. If it's a park, then we don't wanna make it easy for the dog to get on the road. So, I have, while we're on this subject, I'm gonna just pass around this little packet. And I'll give you a couple of highlights on it. First of all, the top page, just that little sketch of where it might be. We originally talked about locating it dead center field, kind of where the ball field is now. That's a kind of a high and dry area. I've since looked at it down there after talking to Bob Warner. I think they went ahead and put their second they've got 2 little kids fields that almost fit in this room. That they do every year down there. And the second one is down in the southwest corner of the EAA park, where the groundhogs live. That's not the best place for them to do, and they can move out other places that would be better for that, but this year they've got it there. By the time we decide to put the dog park in that area, there's plenty of room to develop that for that other little tiny field around right over from that. So, just thinking in terms of monies, the 6 pieces of just kind of middle of the road equipment that I would propose buying to begin with. For the obstacle course, or whatever you want to call it for the dogs, runs about $11,000. That'd be the city. If you're gonna put a fence up, you're probably looking at $3,000 to $5,000, depending on what material we use. An eventual sidewalk, another $4,000 to $5,000. And if we're gonna actually put a fenced-in dog park in there with the amenities we're talking about, then I will need to pay to have some site prep down there too. Even though it's a relatively flat area down there, that place down that I'm talking about is rougher than a corn cob. And it just would need to be either tilled or dozed and leveled off, and so you're talking a couple $3,000 for something like that to happen. So just having the fence is probably and having everything that you would want inside that fence, is gonna add about $12,000 to $13,000 to the project. So I'm not saying yay or nay whether to do that, whether I recommend it. It's just that one thing we got to remember is we're just a year or so out from spending $35,000 to get that ball field in shape for a small number to use. So this is doable. It would be doable with Miller money. It might not all happen in the first year, but I'd say, okay, if we're gonna do it, we do the site prep, get a fence up, and then we go from there. So I'll pass this around, but, this is nothing set in stone. I haven't ordered anything or anything like that. It's just, sure, please. Yeah, what we're just talking about.
I did have one thing that came up about the dog park. Is that the options people wanted you to talk to
Good thing. All right, Rob.
them. Okay, that's all I said.
Yeah. It's not gonna interfere with options. I mean,
He was very concerned.
as they would be if I put it right there in the middle of that. Yeah, it's right. I don't want the property. But that's 16-acre property down there. I mean, if we can all wait together. On that thing coming around, it shows some, I like kind of a canned thing that they would sell for the $11,000 and the pictures of the apparatus. And discussion would need to happen then, of what kind of fence do you want to put up? A lot of dog parks will put up kind of a privacy fence. For one thing, it doesn't want, if it's privacy fence, dogs get in there, they don't get distracted by anything on the outside of the fence. And vice versa. Probably could be, it could probably be done for about the same cost as it would be to put up a chain link. To put up a privacy fence. Be a little more maintenance heavy.
It'd be like a wood privacy fence. you
Yes.
mean? Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest buying one. For one thing, it's cost prohibitive. And the other thing is some fool was down there and decided to want to damage something with their vehicle. I just didn't run over a wooden fence as a vinyl. There's also a package deal that they have where you can buy it's a dog park bench and a couple of receptacles and a fake fire hydrant and several hundred or I don't know how many disposable bags for the dog refuse. And I would suggest like buying double of that, so you'd have at least 4 of those, a couple of benches. But that's just an idea.
I was looking at the gates there, you probably wanna have one of those situations where you have a gate and then an enclosure and then a second gate to get into
Yes,
the
yeah.
dog park.
We would, I just wanna make sure that I remember when we do it, I have to put a big enough gate there so I can get the mower in. And the other part, yeah, that could be done easily. It's a little bit of an offset of some kind there that where you have time to have a double gate. I think it'll take a while before word to get around as far as whether it's how much it gets used, take a while. But we can get started if you guys decide you want to go ahead with the project that has kind of proposed there. I would start with the site prep and the fence, and then we can get the put in there. Just kind of, it may take better part 2 calendar years to finish.
What's the
Scouts did not come in, haven't come through yet with anything.
That's my problem.
Well, and this project doesn't really lend itself much to an Eagle Scout project. Mainly because
Is it not equipment they would be able to?
it's not equipment they'll be able to make
Yeah.
or self-install without some professional help. And the other thing is that I don't know how timeframe would be really tough to get it done. When you do the Eagle Scout project, some of you may be familiar with how it works, but they really have to plan everything, including raising the funds for it and those kind of things. So this doesn't really fit this project. I do believe they would help. That their entire pack, their troop, whatever, would actually help if needed when it comes to installing things that just require some labor.
Yeah.
Um, So I haven't gotten back together with, Brad Beeson on that. But he kind of didn't have anybody that right now that would want to do that project on their own.
I talked to Brad, he stated that, I think they were interested in the walking path.
Yeah, the walking path is something that may fit them better. And that would be something that an actual Eagle Scout could plan to work out the route. The one reason for wanting to move the dog park to the southwest side instead of more in the middle up there is that it will be easier to get to with car traffic. Sure. Because I can pretty easily just put a short drive back to that area, just have a little parking there. And it won't interfere with anything else. So. And it's
It's a pretty good distance from the road too.
yeah, like. And, like I said, I don't have any solid bids for any of the fencing or any of those things. This just was a sketch of what I thought would probably work.
Would funding be an issue, or would this be something you'd want sponsorships, or?
No, I don't think it needed actually. I don't have, Deal wasn't in, so I wasn't able to get the current balance for Miller Fund. But you know, we get draw from that twice a year, and then again in December, they give an extra, they catch up and put more in. Typically we have anywhere from 30 to 40 or $50,000 in there.
I was just thinking like with the lighting, just somebody throw a name out there and they pay yearly, or help fencing, or even if you got the dog food companies to compete, just something to get a name out there.
Honestly, in order for the ongoing health of the upkeep, it would be possible to maybe put a sponsorship sign of some kind. I know Hill's Pet Nutrition and Blue Buffalo, they jump all over things like that.
They
Right,
might even
going
be
with-
willing to actually donate money towards it. I know Hills, I assume they still do it, donates all the dog food for the canine for HPD.
Yeah, cool.
And I think they do it for all the canines for, all of them in Wayne County. So you might contact them and say, we're planning on building a dog park in Hagerstown, and, they may be willing to actually like give you guys a grant to help fund that.
Help pay for a fence or a sidewalk or even the
Yeah,
obstacles.
It's definitely worth looking into. Most of the states
No,
no.
I think they've got plenty of time to.
That's a cart before the horse kind of thing, but it's just.
And when it comes to funding, I realize that, other things are gonna come up, talking about where we're be asking to do some things too. But, most likely doable without, the thing you gotta remember about our actual budget is that for the last at least 5 years, maybe more by now, our budget has been stripped of any capital money. Those are the account numbers, the 400 numbers in our budget for several years. And usually every year there was 10, 15, 20,000, whatever might have been thought might be needed. We'll set aside for capital projects. Or maybe have major equipment purchase or something like that. But those have been cut out of the budget for quite a while now. So we have relied pretty heavily on the Miller Fund ever since its inception. And then the rest of our budgets it's basically yearly maintenance and keeping things going, so. That's worked well. Simply because the Miller Fund is perpetuating fund. So if we run into an issue with not having enough to do everything we decided we'd like to for that year, just wait a few months and you have another draw. Pretty much able to do it. So
The other,
not too concerned about it.
the other place, I think in the planning commission comprehensive plan, there's definitely bullet points for parks. I don't remember if there's anything around dog parks specifically,
I
but
don't think so, because when that was put together, no one was even thinking.
probably not. But we have made some updates in the past few years. But anyway, that might be another source of a little bit of money. Their budget usually goes largely unused for most things. And if it's like we contributed to the signage, the new signage around town, part of that. So might be another little place to pull a little bit
Oh,
from.
yeah, even if they can help towards the event or two, or,
Yeah.
or
The signs
disposal.
open now.
The signs would come with those, with that package, so I'm good with that. Of course, you're always gonna have to wanna add more as far as signs, or you can't have too many pick up after your dog signs. I think that should say, dogs pick up after your humans. You're in the.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Put a couple of hills up too.
I did that one year at the park for Little League. I had a sign by the stone wall there, asked the kids to pick up after their mom and dad.
All right, lots of good info there. Were you wanting anything done for tonight then, or
Well, when's their next meeting? So we,
it'll be November?
November.
Yeah.
If anything would be done down there, at this late date with soccer starting, it's gonna be, it would be November before that would start anyway,
Okay.
because, soccer goes to the end of October
Okay, so wait for that meeting then.
as well. But if we have to do any kind of, it would be ground preparation at this point, so it'd be just kind of filling something up.
Yeah.
Get it smooth off, so it'd be ready to start on. So I think you can wait till November for that one.
All right, so be thinking about that one for the November meeting. I
And
guess the other thing I'd
I'm
ask,
asking to get more, options for what kind of
sure,
equipment that you would want to purchase. And I am dead set that it won't be any wood structures. Mainly because they just don't last, and, you don't want a dog running on anything wooden anyway. And want a puppy paw problem.
And we'll just find out where our funding should come by, so we have it by November, is that?
Yeah, I'll have a better, I've got a better handle of what the actual balance is in that fund. And now we can divvy it all up and still have fun to do what we do.
and then it's back to the ordinances, and obviously it sounds like we need some ordinances to go along with that. Is there anybody that's interested in kind of heading that up or being involved with that with John and kind of giving direction on how we want those to be structured for us? Or a couple of us.
I don't care, Jay, I mean, I don't know, but, somebody, one of us do, I almost like mocking up what, months ago.
Yeah, are you able to send us
Yeah, I
what
can,
you pulled from? You just
I can send it to Chris and he can just push it
Yeah.
out.
just reply to that email and get it to
You don't
everybody.
want
That'd be a good starting point.
You might want to consider just having like a work session before your next meeting,
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
next sort of 45 minutes to an hour. Prior to that, be enough to discuss.
That's why I was
Really,
saying who was interested.
Really, the pet situation in the dog park will be a kind of a separate entity on its own. But, the hours, and, all you need to do is just toss around what would be best. Back when the park was laid out to begin with, when that first ordinance was there, the park was only open from like May to October. Something similar, I don't remember the exact times now, and the hours were 7 AM to 11 PM. Well, the way things are anymore, the park's pretty much used year round.
Yeah.
Even during the winter months, a lot of people come out there and sit and eat their lunch and or watch the trains or whatever.
And we have it written that it's closed during certain months or?
The hours are limited during the winter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were, I don't actually have the ordinances with me, but
They
they
do that
were
daylight.
put together in 1954.
Chris, that was the-
So we would make a motion to change the hours.
Yeah, and you guys as a board can do.
6 to 11.
Yeah, the town council doesn't really have to be involved. And that's why John's here tonight to kind of explain all that to you.
Yeah, so like when it comes to your hours, you just pick a set,
We did that
Yeah.
last.
like
Okay.
6 or 7 o'clock in the morning to 11 or 12 at night daily would suffice for the whole year if you want to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be an easy one to take care of as well.
Okay.
And then change that, yeah, pets are allowed as long as leashes and
Yeah.
yada, yada, yada.
Okay, so we'll set something up, you and I, and anybody else, if you decide you want to be involved, we'll include you too. We'll do some type of work session between now and then. I really don't think, I mean, once we get some examples, I think it'll just be kind of everything what we want.
Yeah, that's,
How tight you wanna make it and.
Yeah,
so if we're reinvent the wheel.
Change the name and go.
I don't think we have any
That's the
special
first
requests.
Hi, Trish. I used to do all those policies, change the name and go.
okay, anything else on dog park before we move on? Any other old business?
The Musco light bulbs came in, those are accounted for and, we got the bill turned in on that.
Sometime before next season.
Yeah, we're talking with the town, I guess they just bought or just got a new truck that is tall enough to reach. So it's a combination of either they're gonna assist us or they're gonna loan us it.
The new, the basketball lights are much better than.
We're right.
You can actually see it.
Yeah, that's,
I was a little concerned that they might be shining in some kid's eyes in some place.
They're bright.
But anyway, it's more of the,
that's what we said.
no more often than we actually have the lights on during a game, the field lights. It's really not that bad because of the daylight saving situation.
Yeah.
They could also be changed during, if there was ever an issue with ball field conflict, or you have to just go in there and flip the timer off, flip the breaker, and you don't have lights like basketball. Just don't send a kid in there.
Have you ever walked out on the basketball or the baseball field at nighttime with the basketball lights on? To
Yeah.
see if it's, okay. Curious. I didn't walk out on the field, I was just.
Yeah, it-
basketball.
It's a good.
It's not bothersome, but if you've been out there before,
You
they
know,
were that bright, you notice it. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, that's where the lights are supposed to be.
Very noticeable change. It was like, back when we used to go out there and play all the time. It was a
Yeah.
lot brighter back then too, so,
Well, you get done playing with the tan now. so.
yeah. But I think that'll draw more people out to the play in the evenings.
Well, the basketball court has become a dinosaur anyway around this town.
It counts as-
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
It'd be better for the whole.
Yeah, actually, don't get me started on that one.
I say basketball like it's bad, it's big for a while, fizzles out.
I know Jake and his friends, they went through spurts where they'd go out there all the time and then,
Well, yeah, there for not too long ago, there were a lot of times towards the end of the summer, there were guys bringing truckloads up from Cambridge to play the kids from Hagerstown, and there was a lot of play going on. And then back, of course, we talked before about back in the day when the girls slow pitch softball league was there.
Yeah,
They played almost till midnight.
that's when it was.
So the high school guys wanted to be where the high school girls were, and so they're out there playing basketball. And, Hagerstown's, prowess in high school basketball probably has lent a little bit to the popularity of the sport.
That's all gonna change.
Girls softball went, so we lost the basketball.
What else we got?
Yeah. Nice little business.
No wants to move on.
I had some community members asked me a question. I did not know the answer, so I'm gonna ask you. The restroom hours for the shelter use, what are the restroom hours and how long in the season does that stay open?
The restrooms are not locked, too,
I guess
Ever.
that's to try to
when
get
we're
them,
open,
couldn't get in.
unless I start having some vandalism problems, and then I'll,
Is that year round or just till what fall?
well.
Once it's
I
free.
think that once it gets, weather gets to the point where I have to turn the water off, because we're on the
But
weather.
October would be fine, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
it's always good up till the first week or so in November,
So
and then
overall,
we
fine.
turn the water back on in March.
November.
But from March to November, they're open 24 hours.
Okay, that was my question. I guess somebody must not have been getting around.
I have no idea, because
I don't either.
they're all the time.
Got a pull harder.
Yeah, no, please, full.
Could be.
I have that block on that. If I start having issues, like, it usually happens at the soccer field for some reason. Some little kid decided the toilet should be filled with rocks. When they start doing things like that, then I lock them at dusk and then go first thing in the morning, unlock.
All right, any other topics from folks?
The old business.
Anything else on the old? I see, think of anything from prior meetings? Any new items?
Yeah. I think you guys have something from.
Jason?
Literally, they'd like to get the softball field reworked, laser level, material put on it. I think to help with some of the wet spots during the season. And, I think the total cost on that is right around 10,000. They question on if the park would pay for half of that.
It has been the park's practice in the past to do that whenever they have a project. Like when fences have gone up and those kinds of things to split the cost. And I talked with Sean Murphy about it some. And at first I was really concerned that there could be said a bill of goods about actually laser leveling that field. I think you can accomplish the same as what you want to get done without actually having the laser level. But I was concerned mainly because the first estimate that I heard was like $14,000 to do that.
Yeah, we said
A
that.
lot of that was the fill they
A
wanted.
lot of that, the fill that they were using was double what we used.
Yeah,
Price
what
was
we
double
get from,
what we
what we get from up there.
Yeah. So if we supplied all the materials, it was substantially less.
Yeah. And I told him I was essentially okay with the idea as long as we know we can handle that. My main concern about that field, and I think I might have mentioned to you before, the reason for the wet spot problem and the washing that happens over there is because of the buildup that happens around the fences in front of the dugouts.
Mhm.
And then the water gets funneled through the gates
Yeah,
and right out onto the field. It's always gonna do that, given the lay of the land over there, because the basketball court is higher than the field. And the left field side has a
Mhm.
hill on it. But I think when we get to working on it, lowering the perimeter around in front of the dugouts, lowering the perimeter at least a foot or more. Because that's where the buildup is. And even if I need to put some drainage pipe in there, we have places we can go with that outside of the fence.
Yeah.
That would not even interfere with the playing field. Even if you have to put a catch basin of some kind in a couple spots. So that needs to be considered when this starts happening.
Yeah.
Cause I don't think getting it leveled off is gonna do it any good.
Yeah.
And a baseball field, anybody that knows anything about them knows that they need to be crowned anyway. So whatever happens needs to have a crown in the middle.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
other than that, I'm on board with the
I feel
fact
the
that
same way
probably
about,
you can handle having that.
I feel the same way you do about the buildup around there at the dugouts and everything. It's definitely gotta go somewhere.
And we can do a little bit of,
I think we can have,
digging behind the dugouts and around, or at least on the one side, keep all that water from rushing out there.
A little berm or something.
Heck, I've been saying it for years, but I'd rather have a grass infield there anyway, so. A different story
like,
Well, and this is
for
the
now.
same outfit that did Newcastle's new field, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen what they've done. They did a
I
good
haven't
job.
really looked at it. I haven't seen what they did over there, but everybody that I talked to says that it looks really, it's really nice.
Yeah, and I think if you get your materials where we're used to buying it from Lefferts or wherever the name is.
Yeah.
On the other side of Kokomo. If you get your materials from there, you'll cut down $3,000-4,000 worth of.
Yeah. About, I think it's about $3,000, because their material was almost double. And I don't, other than that material kind of getting hard when it gets really dry out. I don't see any other issues with it, because the material they said that they used had more clay and less sand in it, and that's just gonna make it even harder.
You don't want more clay on that thing. Somewhere around 60-40, what really works nice. It sounds like a lot of sand, 40%. If you get in like 50-50, it makes it harder to pack.
And I think they combat some of that with the field conditioner. The
Yeah.
hard pack.
Yeah.
See, my least best friend of that whole situation is that field conditioner.
Yeah.
You use the right amount, it's okay. But
Yeah.
go out and dump.
But they don't. Every time it rains, some fool grabs the bags and goes running out there and thinks that it's diamond dry.
Yeah.
You know, and then next time the wind blows, it's in the outfield.
I think baseball field side of it, we've kind of got everybody convinced to, when it rains, just don't touch it. And that if they don't touch it, and they don't rake it, we could have 2 inches of rain out there, and in an hour and a half to 2 hours, we could probably move on.
And I've always said that, stay off of it when it rains and it'll be okay. But somebody's gotta come out
It
there.
stays flat and everything.
If you keep the rakes off of it, it does pretty
But
good.
you gotta remember, the
Volunteers.
the volunteers, and
And they just want to play baseball.
and every year, when it comes time for baseball, by God, if it rains, we got to play this game. We got to play. And their guys go out there with brooms and push mud into the grass and you name it, they do it. Most of the time, they don't know any better. And we pretty much, you guys now have a real advantage over most of the past Little League boards. Because you got more active people that have taken a real interest in it and learned how to do things right and jump in there and make sure everybody does. So it's been so much better the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, than I'd say it was.
There's a large part of why.
Back when a certain lady president had her husband digging holes in the outfield so they could play.
I got a naive question, because I don't know anything about this, but you're saying to do this is gonna be $12,000.
About 10 is
About 10.
what we came down to last night while we were discussing it last night, after we decided that we would supply the materials, because we can get the materials cheaper than what they had quoted us.
Was there anything, just because when he mentioned the flooding catch basins, and or does any of that also need to come into play?
That wasn't
But
in the
that's,
discussion.
that is something that would not be a major cost.
Like I said, I know nothing about it. I mean, I'm on board. I'm just trying to
And
understand.
maybe just,
What you threw in about the rain and water, and I thought it was something you're gonna invest in and
Well,
then lose it because of we skipped, a
I'm
battery.
sure by next spring, Brittany will be really good with the backhoe, right?
I hope, we'll see, yeah.
But they, town has equipment that can, right, they got a mini excavator, they've got a regular backhoe. And as long as we don't have to have it right this minute, you can usually work it in, get help with
Be
it.
something, if we could plan ahead and do the drainage and everything before we have them come out.
Well, I was gonna suggest that this fall would be sooner the better to get in there, even if you have to take the fence fabric off on those two sides, so you can actually access it better.
Yeah.
And that'd be the thing to do. You can do a lot of that work this fall, so you don't have to fiddle around with it, and try to do it while you're trying to practice in the
You
spring.
don't wanna do it in the spring,
No, it's a
No.
waste of time. to even think about it.
and then it's a panic.
So I would say you've got, right now, you've got from tomorrow to mid-November before
Yeah,
you'd have to say you couldn't do anything else out there this year.
and maybe just to share a little more of the Little League plans, so they, Plate to Pallet was the, Little League was the beneficiary of Plate to Pallet this past year, so we got the donation from that. And the two major projects that's gonna fund is this one, hopefully. And then a new scoreboard on the baseball field, which we've needed for a while, but we'll have pitch count, which is now hugely important on the baseball side of things, and make that a lot better experience too. So those will be the two main things that money's going towards.
That scoreboard's been, I think our, my boy Kyle was 12 when they put that new one up.
It was planned to be about right.
And so right about then, and they got it free from Pepsi. And they don't do that kind of stuff anymore, of course.
Yeah.
I've seen
Even though
And
we've got
then we went to Coke,
Yeah.
and then that's after they gave us the scoreboard. Pepsi gave us the scoreboard a year or so later, they decided to have Coke out there, so I got some decals from the Coke company and stuck on the store. But it's the identical model to the one the girls had.
Yep.
So a lot of the stuff in there would be, the old one would be usable to take the LEDs.
Yeah.
Circuit boards out of.
We replaced the
To say.
softball side when I was there as president,
Mhm.
so it's not too awful.
or I can,
That was a fun deal.
or I can buy it, pay it my mom.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Yeah, that, I would say it would be, that's the way we've done things in the past, any kind of major project for us, we split it. And that's why. I
You'd be asking for
because of
5K.
lights.
Yeah,
Ish, and that would fit in
Yeah.
budget along with the other things that we've already talked about and everything goes on.
Sure.
So,
I'll make a motion.
I'll take a motion if that's something we wanna do as park board.
I will second that.
You gotta make the motion. I
You
can't.
gotta make a motion.
Yeah, make a motion that we contribute, donate
Total of $5,000.
I'll second.
Literally.
Do you know if the posts out there, are they mounted in concrete? I thought so. I thought about getting with, like Reeves Manufacturing or somebody that might be able to donate some I-beams. What do you think about replacing the posts when we put the new scoreboard up?
That's simple, yeah, that's fine,
I was over there today, so I'll get in contact with them again.
yeah.
See, maybe we can do some trading, maybe on sponsorship
Yeah.
type deal. Where we give them a sponsorship banner or a pennant or something for a certain amount of time, if they'll donate the materials for us to put new posts up.
They are, it's a little more, problematic when you go hanging the new scoreboard on high beams
Mm,
instead of the wood posts, of course. Whatever, if that's what you wanna do, if you get, that's fine. But I can live with either one of those, because the posts that have been there forever are still straight as a string, so.
yeah, I was actually out there today and looked at it, there's nothing wrong with the post, I just was thinking long term, if we wanna go ahead and replace the post while we put the new scoreboard up, or if we want to wait.
We'll just have to work around conduit coming in by the posts and
Yeah,
that kind of stuff, but you can shift it slightly anyway.
yeah. I think the one that Sean was looking at is 10 foot by 5 foot, I believe it's 10 foot wide totally, which would be about 2 feet wider than the current.
This one's like 4x8.
Yeah.
And then it's got a 2 foot sign thing on the
Yeah.
top of it.
Foot at the bottom, I mean, when the foot
Yeah.
high, foot have to be at the top, yeah.
I'm all right with that. You may have to get somebody to help you hang it up.
Yeah, it's, when me and Dustin, when we hung this one down at the varsity field, I was surprised at how manageable it was, how light.
There's not
Actual
much to
scoreboard,
that.
is
the
there? There's not
actual
much to it.
scoreboard, no. And once again, either Burns does or the town does all it. You can just take just a strap and
Yeah.
get those scoreboards up, put them where you want them.
Just the weight wise, 2-3 guys can handle it, it's just the awkwardness of, you wouldn't
Yeah.
really wanna do it off a
It's
lot.
nice to have them hanging on a truck.
Yeah.
On a strap board.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to contribute $5,000 to the Little League for the releveling of the softball field. Do I have any other discussion on that? Not, we'll move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Jason. Thanks for bringing that in. Any other new items?
One for the future. I told Tom Murphy about it as well. He hadn't even thought about it yet either, but if you're familiar with the Little League diamond and the stone wall behind it, and that walking path that's down below behind the Little League, it's like 5 feet wide, too narrow to drive a mower through or anything. And through that path down there actually runs an old drain pipe that's still operative. It's a corrugated aluminum. Runs right along the edge of the fence, all the way down to the woods. Well, there's a wooden retaining fence to hold up that hill. Well, over the years, it's become Leaning Louise the fence, It's it really needs to be something done with. And so something to think of, and I would say within the next year and a half, would be to go in, take out that wooden retainer, dig the hill back about another 5 feet or so that there's about an 8 or 10 foot wide area flat down at the bottom of the hill, where people could actually set their chairs or whatever down there. And it still wouldn't interfere with the width of the driveway up above. And it would certainly help me then to put in like that 3 to 4 foot high concrete or block wall that would taper off a lot more close to level, so we can maintain it. As it is now, it's so steep, the water just runs down off that, and it's like a cow path through there.
So you're saying that back behind the bullpens,
Behind the bullpens, yeah.
widen that out and
What?
cut into the hill
On the west side, yeah. Not necessarily on the east side. Matter of fact, right now, that wooden fence it runs along the west side and then it turns a little bit and goes back towards the concession stand.
Yeah.
Well, that turning part probably is necessary. Because you could dig it back 4 or 5 feet. So now you've got a wider area where you could actually drive a vehicle through there if you had to. And then you could just build a wall yay high straight across.
Okay.
That would just run right into the ground.
Does that-
and taper off.
Will we need something that'll be taller than it is now, the drop off will be taller, right? Will we need?
Yeah, well, I would probably have to end
Need
up
something
putting
at the
a
top.
fence there.
Okay, yeah, that's my question.
Because it wouldn't meet a code, I'm sure, depending on how high up you go, code would say you have to put up a railing. But that would be easily done. So something to think about there, because that's a kind of a sore spot, kids are like mountain goats, they don't fall for that kind of stuff, but older people do.
Yeah.
You get on that
I've seen it
incline
happen.
and lose their balance and they just keep
You
going.
could walk into a council room sometime and trip over a chair. Nobody. He pushed me.
Yeah, the camera wasn't ready.
Cameras don't work in time. Immediately. Cameras don't work at the park either.
We don't have to talk about that, do
We'll
we?
talk about that tonight. I have not gotten a word back from the Lisbon guy who said he thought he knew the right guy that I need to talk to, but he hadn't called me back. So another 50 years may go by before I have to look at the gas.
Yeah.
But by the way, February, I expect to have some kind of celebration. Because that's, my 50th anniversary with this board.
That's pretty impressive.
I've got underwear older than that, but it doesn't matter.
You still got them?
I'm still not, my dad handed them down to me. They're easy to hang up.
I think I need a motion to adjourn.
He's just trying to drive up our viewers.
Right.
Look at it.
Well,
If, or. I'll make that motion if you're.
All right, Joe. Yeah, so
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Hold
I heard Jason second.
also.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Alright.
Haven't heard anything back.
8:07.
on.
Thanks, John, for being here.
What do you want to do?
Some information.
Oh, look,
I
I always forget. You guys gotta remind me before I close the meeting.
You do. Next meeting, we'll throw that.
November.